The Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee. Council Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Here. Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Mr. Miller. Here. Ms. Conwell. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Councilman Jones will be unable to make it, and while it is not required, I'd like to make a motion to excuse his absence. Do I have a second? It's been moved and second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, his absence has been excused. Is there any public comment?
No, no one has signed in.
All right, may I get an approval for the minutes from the December 4th meeting? It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. Council Clerk, if you'll please read the first item into the record.
Resolution number 2019-0004, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
Good morning. Happy New Year, Council, Madam Chairwoman, members of the committee. I'm Albert Bouchahine, the Manager of Classification and Compensation for the Personnel Review Commission. Before you for your consideration are modifications to the county's non-bargaining classification plan. Changes in department's operational needs and routine maintenance necessitate the creation of 3 classifications and the revision of 11 classifications. All the modifications before you were prepared by the PRC Class and Comp staff, who has worked extensively with the Department of Human Resources and Department Management to ensure they're fully informed of the proposed changes before you. In accordance with the PRC rules, the proposed changes were posted on the PRC's website prior to your consideration. The PRC considered and approved recommending these changes to you at their December 12th, 2018 meeting. I thank you for your consideration, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, we'll probably go through the standards. How many new, revised, and if there are any deletions?
There are Madam Chair, there are 3 new classifications being created, 11 revised, and none being deleted.
All right, with regards to the new classifications, I see there's a grant supervisor, security analyst, and a security engineer. Are these consolidations or completely new? And if they are new, what department will they serve under?
Madam Chair, the grant supervisor is a classification that currently, where there is one incumbent that is a program officer, we created a classification that more accurately describes the duties that that individual is performing. The individual fits within the pay grade of this new classification, so we don't anticipate any financial impact. The security analysts and security engineers are requests by the Department of Information Technology for their security department. Once those classifications will be created, the positions will be filled.
Okay, and you said positions, are we referring to all 3, or how many do we anticipate hiring within this 3 group of three new classifications?
Madam Chair, there's only one grant supervisor with respect to the security analyst and security engineer. I am not aware of how many FTEs the department has approved, but they would have to go through a different process to get that approved through OBM and Human Resources Department.
Okay, and while we do not have any deletions today, if you could provide this committee with an update of how many new classifications, revised classifications, and deletions we've had over the course of last year for 2018 as we close out the year. And in addition to that, if you would, just for the record, share with us the process of why we go through these classifications.
Sure. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'll be happy to forward you our spreadsheet that has the numbers of deletions, revisions, and new classifications we created for 2019. The class plan is a living document. The employees' duties change due to different organizational changes within the department due to technology such as the ERP. For example, we have requests to make modifications to many classifications, specifically within the Information Technology Department, to incorporate the duties of the new ERP that's coming in. So as those changes are requested, we update the minimum qualifications, the essential functions, et cetera. In addition to the request that we received from the agency and departments, the PRC has also started on a 4-year maintenance cycle for these classifications. So whether we get a request or not, we're going to look at every classification once every 4 years to make sure that they accurately reflect the duties of the employees.
And so our audience understands, every 4 years sounds like a long time, but can you elaborate how many classifications we currently have?
Madam Chair, it does sound like a long time, but we have approximately 400 classifications. Some of these classifications have many incumbents. When we do these updates, we do a job analysis with the subject matter experts and the incumbents. So it takes time to analyze the information. and make those revisions. So we anticipate approximately 100 classifications being updated every year, and that's in addition to whatever requests we get from the administration.
Okay, and I think that answers all the questions I have for you today. I'll open it up to the committee. Councilman Miller.
Madam Chair, Mr. Bushanine, on the item for the network manager, it was changed from 12A to 12B, which moves it into the IT classification, if I'm not mistaken. How much does that change the compensation profile for that item?
Madam Chair, to Councilman Miller, that classification is an old classification that has not been looked at since I forget the year, 1996, I believe. We had previously had employees in that classification at the Department of Human Services. Once all those employees had been shifted over to the Department of Information Technology, that schedule, that salary schedule B is specifically for the IT department. That takes the salary range for the current classification from $56,368 to $62,000, but we don't anticipate any financial impact as employees, incumbents in this classification fit within that new range on Schedule B.
And how many incumbents do we have?
I believe it's three, Councilman.
And on the senior grants coordinator, which goes from 7A to 9A, how does that change the pay range on that item?
Madam Chair, to Councilman Miller, there are no incumbents currently in that senior grants coordinator position, but it takes it from salary schedule 7A, which starts at $41,579 to $47,507.
And what was the reason for that being increased by 2 pay levels?
Madam Chair, to Councilman Miller, that position was modified to include coordination and lead work. In addition, also the minimum qualifications were increased in the years of experience required.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And the other point I think should be made, these are made in cooperation and collaboration with the administration, correct?
Absolutely. We get, if there are incumbents in the positions, we get position questionnaires and do a job analysis. If there are no incumbents, we work with the subject matter experts, which are the supervisors, and then the directors of the agencies also have an opportunity to review and comment before we bring them before you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councilwoman Conwell?
Through the chair to Albert, for the senior grants coordinator, which department does that fall under? There's no incumbents in it.
That is the Department of Public Safety and Justice Services.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? All right, I think we had a request as we close out the end of the year, so I'm going to move this to the full body of the council. It will go 3 readings. Are there any objections to that?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, so I've made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Council Clerk, will you please read the next item?
Resolution number 2019-0009, confirming the county executive's appointment of Carlin N. Culbertson to serve on the Child Abuse and Child Neglect Regional Prevention Council of the Ohio Children's Trust Fund, representing the Great Lakes region for an unexpired term ending 5/25/2020.
Thank you, Council Clerk. I'm going to ask Ms. Holly if she'll just give us a little bit of background before we hear from our candidate.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of the County Executive, I'm here to recommend an appointment of Carlin Culbertson to the Ohio Children's Trust Fund. The Ohio Children's Trust Fund is comprised of 11 members appointed by the County Executive and approved by County Council. Per Section 3109.172 of the Ohio Revised Code. Board members are appointed for a term of 3 years. Carlin Culbertson is replacing Robin Martin for an open unexpired term ending May 25th of 2020.
Thank you. Thank you very Much. Are there any questions from the committee for Ms. Holly before we begin? All right, there being none, Mr. Culberson, if you'll please give us a brief background and why you'd like to serve on this board.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Real quick, so I had read about the recent child abuse cases and the child deaths and the plain dealer and all that. And so I wrote a letter to the county executive just stating some of my background, which I'll get into, and my desire to do anything to kind of help out. Originally, the articles mentioned the DCFS advisory board, so that's why I wrote the letter to see if I might be suitable for that. So I met with the county executive and Michelle Pomerantz and kind of went through my background, and they suggested this opportunity. So I did some research into what the Ohio Trust Fund does, what the Regional Provincial Council does, and it seemed to align a lot with what I would like to do. So that's kind of what led me here. Part of my background is that when I was 6 years old, I was removed from my biological mother's custody by Summit County Children's Services, along with my brother. I was raised by my aunt and uncle, and then when we turned 18, we were adopted. That led me to, I'm currently on the Adoption Network of Cleveland's board for the past 2 years in their finance committee. And then I've also been involved with the Sullivan Deckard Scholarship at Cleveland State University, which provides scholarships and housing funds for students that age out of foster care, along with support services to help them graduate from college within 4 years. What I do with that is I interview candidates and then work with them throughout on personal finance. So they just had their first 3 recent graduates from the program, which is kind of exciting. And so before they graduated, I spent a lot of time with them talking about renting an apartment, mortgages, buying a car, stuff like that. It's just things that they didn't really have anyone else to ask. So that's my background. That's kind of my desire on why I would want to do this. Part of my professional background, I'm a certified public accountant for a public accounting firm. I've done that for 14 years. I was recently promoted to vice president there. I think the resume says senior manager. What I do with that is I work with people a lot. So there is numbers and all that, but it's a lot of relationships and clients and just dealing with different types of people, which I think would benefit me in this position. Just a wide variety of agencies, potential funding sort people and items like that. And then also do a lot with processes, procedures, and getting more involved in our data analytics work. May or may not, but as more and more data is required to see, especially with the Adoption Network, I've noticed everyone likes to see how many people attended, what are the outcomes, is this worth what we're spending on it? I think that'll play into that well too. So I guess that's the shortest version I can give you on me. Suppose there are any questions?
I think that was pretty good. Thank you very much. So do you see yourself as a fundraiser also in this position?
I think I would be. I do a decent amount of that for the Adoption Network right now. And then also I've been involved, this is separate, but the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center. My son has hearing loss, he has hearing aids, so I've done some work with them too to help plan out and raise funds for their annual benefit.
Thank you very much. I'll open it up to my colleagues if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Councilwoman Conwell, and then Councilman Miller.
Through the chair to Mr. Culberson, would you still be interested in being on the advisory board?
Yes, I would be if whenever that opportunity is available.
Okay, because I know you stated that you had talked to Michelle Pomerantz, and your initial interest was to be on the advisory board, but, they offered this instead. Yeah. I think that would be, especially since it's Ohio's Prevention Council, a representative should sit on that advisory board, because it's all about prevention to me. So if you're still willing to be on that advisory board as well, if your name goes forward on this, I would love to offer my support and have a conversation with Michelle to.
Yeah, I would gladly do that, and I think it makes a lot of sense too, like you said, and just the different perspectives from the community
Thank you.
Councilman Miller?
Madam Chair, to Mr. Culbertson, thank you very much for applying for this appointment. And the Regional Prevention Council typically has about 10 meetings a year that are held in the afternoons at Lake County JFS because it's a 4-county program, and I'm just wanting to know whether you're confident that you could attend these meetings with good regularity.
Yes, I looked at the schedule and saw when they were and where they were at before I committed to this. So my job is relatively flexible. Hence, I'm able to come here and then go to different clients, and I'm in and out of the office all the time. So working that in once a month, I don't think would be an issue. And then anything outside of that, with fundraising or awareness or any type of things like that, I don't doubt that I'd be able to do that too.
And just one other thing I'd like to make the committee aware of is that there is going to be an important meeting of the Regional Prevention Council I believe it's next Thursday at 1 o'clock. And so if the committee's amenable, I'd like to recommend passage on second reading suspension so that hopefully it could be approved next Tuesday and you could attend that meeting as a member.
Are there any additional questions, comments, or concerns? All right, with you being a member of that particular board, Councilman Miller and our trusted colleague, we will follow your lead. Are you making the motion?
I would like to make a motion to recommend Resolution 2019-0009 favorably to the full council with recommendation to leadership to place it on the schedule for second reading suspension approval.
It's been moved by Miller, second by Councilman Gallagher. If there are no further questions or comments or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
This will move to the full body of council. Thank you for coming out this
Thank
morning.
you.
Appreciate you. Council Clerk, will you please read the next item?
Resolution number 2019-0010, confirming the county executive's appointment of John M. Hairston Jr. to serve on the Metro Health System Board of Trustees for an unexpired term ending 2/28/2021.
Thank you very much. I'll ask Ms. Holly if you'll speak to this appointment.
Yes, on behalf of the county executive, I am here to recommend an appointment of John Hairston Jr. to the Metro Health Board of Trustees. The Metro Health Board of Trustees is comprised of 10 members, jointly selected by the county executive and judge from common pleas and probate. Per Chapter 339 of the Ohio Revised Code, members are appointed for a term of 6 years. John Hairston is filling an open, unexpired term ending February 28th of 2021.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee for Ms. Holly? All right, there being none, Mr. Harrison, if you would so kindly give us your background and why you'd like to serve on this board.
Well, good morning. I've had the opportunity to be associated with the Metro Health Hospital for a number of years. And very briefly, I will tell you why I think that I have the credentials to serve on the board. But mainly it comes from the intimate relationship that I had when I was with the Cleveland Public Schools. You see, during the time of desegregation, many of our children, underserved, did not have any place to go to get physicals or anything else. Metro Health stepped forward and provided an opportunity for us to take care of our kids, the underserved community, without any cost at all. The other thing that I recognize that Metro Health has continued to do those kinds of things, even to the part of having a relationship with the Cleveland Public Schools and a school within Metro Health. But more on a personal side, I will say to you that I experienced the excellence from the hospital itself when my grandson, who was 11 years old, fell out of a window and had to be life flighted to Metro Health. The one thing that I did not like was that we had just closed Huron Road Hospital, so there was no trauma center. But if it hadn't been for Metro Health, we would not even been able to even have a conversation with him. He did pass away in Metro Health, but the kind of care that they gave to the family, and I witnessed that, and the kind of care that they gave sentiment to my family and my friends, I think was very admirable. I think they took care of business, and so that's the personal side of where I am. I've been able to be very fortunate since 1964 when I came to Cleveland. I've served on the federal level. I've served on the regional level. I've been appointed to the school board by Governor Voinovich. I've had an opportunity to work for Congresswoman Marsha Fudge. I have been able to experience my community, and I still live in my community. I think that the foundation that I was able to acquire over the number of years of serving within the Franklin community would be an additional asset to the Metro Board to fulfill the term, the unexpired term that I've been seeking. That's a little bit about my background. I can go on and on and on, but I don't like to talk about myself that much. I think my deeds speak better than my words. Committed, energetic, very opinionated, but with fact. Do my research and will support the policies and procedures and the Ohio Revised Codes and the bylaws that I've researched in regard to Metro Health.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Harrison. You spoke on the term, and I'd like to point that out, that we do need to make a correction, and I just want to make sure you're prepared to serve in its full range, which I understand is March 5th, 2024, as opposed to what we have here reflected. So I want to make a motion to amend Resolution 2019-0010 to an unexpired term ending March 5th, 2024. Do I have a second? Okay, it's been moved in second, so now we will be operating under the March 5th date. If all are in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, I will now open it up to my colleagues. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns for Mr. Harrison, please.
Just
Councilman Miller.
Just a clarification on the date. Did you say March 5th, 2024? So it's,
March 5th, 2024 is
so
the,
it's 3 years longer than was listed here.
yes.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Harrison?
Yes, ma'am, I am. My commitment initially in speaking with the Michelle and others was that it would be a shorter term, but I will say to you, because of circumstances personal in my life, this provides me an opportunity to not only serve, but serve at a longer tenure, which I think is very, very needed. Very difficult to make some changes and get adjusted to anything within 3 years. And so I think it's admirable that I would even be considered to be that long. So I'm
Excellent.
very comfortable with it.
Councilwoman Conwell?
Through the chair to Mr. Harrison, have you had any dealings with Metro, and if so, what were those dealings?
My deal has basically been interaction when I was chief of community relations for doing desegregation at the Cleveland Public Schools, in and out of the place to make sure our children were taken care of. There were, I'm selected my words, but doing desegregation in volatile times when we started busing. And we had a number of things that I had to be in my role to interact with Metro Hospital. That was the first beginning of it. And I said personally, what had happened with my grandson has been that, not from a policy point have I been interacting, but I have been involved through inquiries when I was district director from Congresswoman Fudge. So there's been an intimate relationship because of the Congresswoman's role and function. Those have been my interactions with Metro.
How many CEOs have you worked with?
How many CEOs in my lifetime?
With Metro.
The only CEO that I work with or know that I've had conversation with is our present CEO.
Ms. Holly, how many meetings a year does Metro Board have?
The meetings are quarterly.
Quarterly. Okay, Mr. Harrison, you have no problem making those meetings. I know you're retired. I thought you were retired anyway. I guess not.
I feel like retirement 4 times.
I know.
I looked at the meeting dates, and the description for governing, Board of Trustees for the Metro. In between those dates, there's a lot of work that has to be done, and I'm prepared to do that. I just think that, those meetings, are a summary of the kinds of things that should be going on and that are going on from my research. So I'm prepared to do that. Much of the work will be electronic work anyhow, but as far as meeting the dates, that's fine.
Have you lightened your load with your other boards?
I only have one board.
All right.
I have really lightened my load
Okay.
with other boards. I do not do Glenville Development Corporation. I do not do United Way. I do not do NASA. My only board that I'm on right now is 2 boards, really. One is the Cleveland Public Library, which I dearly love, and the other one is I'm chairman of my deacon board at my church, and that's like a board. So, and that one keeps you more busy than any board I got.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
Madam Chair, I was looking at the wrong board. The Metro Health Board actually holds regular monthly meetings, the last Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
May I speak?
Yes, absolutely. Please respond.
That was what was on the website, but I picked up another website that says they now have moved the meetings bi-monthly. So there is confusion. The one that I am agreeing to is the bi-monthly meetings. The next one is January 23rd, I think it is. So there's some confusion. The bylaws call for bi-monthly meetings because they've been changed. And I don't think that word has gotten around. Maybe I'm reading it the wrong way, but I think it's the next one is January 23rd, and the next one's in March.
Okay.
So
So we'd have to make an amendment or a second reading suspension.
Right, second reading suspension. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Councilman Miller?
Just to clarify on the term, is this a full term of that length, or is this an unexpired term and then plus 1 full term?
Now that I would have to yield to our council staff who's coming forward, and he can possibly answer that question for us, Councilman.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning, Trevor Mackler, council staff. Councilman Miller, this term is for an unexpired term that was on March of 2018. So they're typically 6-year terms.
Okay. And just one other thing from personal experience, I can confirm what you're saying about the church board taking the most time.
Councilman Gallagher?
Mr. Harrison, thank you. In your retirement to come out and do this is an exciting time with Metro Hospital. And if you followed this new government, we've developed a relationship with Metro that's invaluable to the least of us that need that help. But now you're on, I think maybe they've upped the meetings because of the expansion and the construction. And well, you weren't there at the beginning of that. Hopefully you'll be there at the end of that, which will be really exciting for that West 25th corridor and the customers of Metro, not just countywide, but multi-countywide. So thank you for being there. Hopefully we'll be dealing with you in the future. I know you've probably read with the movement we've had at the jail with Metro. They've become an invaluable partner with this county government, and we look forward to working in the future. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, Mr. Gallagher, I had a chance to visit Metro. I saw where the construction was getting ready to take place. I've done some research around Summa Care and a number of issues that have popped up. I think the quality of service will be increased and expanded based on the new facility, and I would like to be a part of making sure that happens.
Excellent. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? All right, I understand according to what you have shared with us, the next meeting is going to take place January 23rd, 2019. So I'll make the motion to move this to the full body of the council. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved in second. All in favor, please say
And
aye.
is this for second reading suspension?
This is for second reading suspension,
Okay.
Councilman Miller.
Okay.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right, excellent. I'd like to add my name, Council Clerk. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you very much. We welcome your experience and you coming out of retirement to help and continue to serve, to lend your expertise to public service. If you'll read the next item into the record,
Thank you.
Council Clerk.
Resolution number 2019-0011, confirming the county executive's appointment of Pamela K. Jankowski to serve on the City of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County Workforce Development Board for an unexpired term ending June 30th, 2021.
And I'll turn it back over to Ms. Holly.
On behalf of the county executive, I am here to recommend an appointment of Pamela Jankowski to the Workforce Development Board. The Workforce Development Board is comprised of 34 members, jointly appointed, some by the mayor, some by the county executive, per Chapter 6301 of the Ohio Revised Code. The length of the term is 3 years. And Pamela Jankowski is replacing Susan Sheehan, who resigned in November. She will be in an open, unexpired term ending June 30th, 2021.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Holly. If you'll please share with us your experience and why you would like to serve.
Oh, well, good morning. As the Director of Literacy and Learning for Cuyahoga County Public Library, my role is to oversee all library programs, including the work that we do around adult education services, which entails classes that help adults prepare for the high school equivalency exams, English as a second language, citizenship classes, and certification for IT. The work that we do is in partnership with Cleveland Public Library. We provide classes throughout Cuyahoga County and within the city proper. Everything that we do has been funded through the state of Ohio's Aspire program. And those funds come from the WIOA Title II Funds Act. So I'm really honored to be nominated to sit on the Cuyahoga County Workforce Board. The county, I know that we're looking at trying to fill a middle skills gap in the county, but those jobs require high school diplomas. And in Cuyahoga County, unfortunately, we have over 150,000 adults without a high school diploma. This, along with the digital skills that are needed in many of our new jobs, are two issues that Aspire programs can support and are supporting. And so I look at this as a benefit for the workforce to have someone represent the Aspire programs in the region so that I can share our expertise and the services that we can provide to help workforce. And also I look forward to being able to share with my Aspire colleagues the work that the Workforce Board is doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a lot. It spawned a lot of questions for me. So with the Aspire program, and you expressed there are 150,000 individuals in Cuyahoga County without a high school diploma. Do you have goals that you've set, an annual goal, or what are can you speak to those goals and where you are?
Sure. So in our last fiscal year, we were able to serve 1,300 adults. And 86% of those adults were able to increase their educational functioning level. So that's a fancy way of saying that we were able to gain skills. Unfortunately, the number of how many actually got a GED or obtained a high school equivalency was only 96, because we're dealing with folks that are at very low levels in the county. And I can only speak for our particular Aspire program. There are 3 in Cuyahoga County.
And with that said, can you give us an example of the middle skills that you talked about with those relative to those jobs, and also how the classes are executed. Are they done in person at the library, or are they online or hybrid?
So for Aspire programs, we offer classes throughout Cuyahoga County and in the city. They're not held just in public libraries. We do hold classes in Cleveland Public branches. We do hold classes in Cuyahoga County Public Library, but we also hold classes in Ohio Means Job Center. We also offer classes in community centers. We offer classes at St. Vincent Charity Hospital. So a variety of different locations. We really try to make classes in the communities of the folks that need the services. So we try to be as accessible as we possibly can. And then you asked about middle skills. So middle skills really require folks to have a high school diploma, so that they normally they'll be required to have anywhere from a 2-year but up to a 4-year degree. Many times it's certifications that they need in order to get those positions. We are working with our technology trainers and have been starting to offer IT certifications. So we're working with the ESOL population and certifying students in what they call IC3, which is a very broad digital certification that states that they have very broad digital skills. And then we're starting in 2019 to certify in Microsoft Office for Word. And then we're also looking at a proposal to start offering Best Plus, which is like the help desk. That's a certification for that.
So the classes are strictly in a learning room environment, nothing online or anything like that?
We don't have anything currently that's online. We've been looking at some blended learning opportunities, but we haven't started anything like that. And we also actually do classes which are virtual. So we have classes where we use video conferencing equipment, where we'll have a teacher in one location and we'll offer classes in 3 different locations.
And I have to say, I would imagine that the in-person learning is probably the better route because of accountability and being certain that the individual that is seeking the certification or GED is actually the individual that is doing the work.
Oh, absolutely. When it comes to testing, when they take the test, they have to do that in person and document.
Okay, so given your reach of 1,300, that was last year?
Yes, fiscal year last year. Mhm.
Okay, and converting that into 96 individuals with their GED or high school diploma equivalent, can you again speak to maybe the goals that you have? I see the reach and what you were able to achieve. Is that in line with your goals, or would you like to?
Sure. So our goals for this year are very similar. So we really focus on trying to raise educational functioning levels, because we know that we're in this particular community, we have folks that are at very low literacy levels. And so in order to focus on educational functioning levels, so our goal is 84%, and last year we were able to hit 86%. So, and when we look at our goals compared to the state, our program does very well. The state average, I think, for educational functional level is around 82. But we've actually, and I am happy to share with you a document that we have that demonstrates and compares us to the state.
I just appreciate your feedback. I find the literacy environment fascinating, given our large population and how many people are not at a functioning level. Just for more clarity, could you elaborate on what grade we would determine that efficiency level to be?
We can see anyone in our classes that are at like 2nd grade all the way through typically around 6th grade. So the majority of students that we're seeing are around the 6th grade level.
And your goal is to get them to what?
Oh, high school.
High school?
Yes,
Okay.
because we want them to pass the high school equivalency exam.
All right. Okay. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Councilwoman Conwell?
Through the chair, for your Aspire program, do you provide any transportation?
We do not, but we do have a partnership with the county So those that are on SNAP benefits, if they participate in our Aspire programs, we can provide bus passes.
Okay. And just to follow up in terms of the 1,300 that you've dealt with on this last year, what is your follow-up with the remaining 1,204 individuals that did not get their GED?
We roll them over into the following year, so we want to continue to serve them and continue to help them achieve their goals.
And you spoke of children. Is this, I was under the impression this is adults. Is it
It is
adults?
adults.
Okay. Okay, so
So we have adults that are reading or coming in with second grade levels, but the majority of adults that we see are around the 6th grade.
Okay. No further at this time.
Well, thank you. It seems to me that you bring a tremendous amount of expertise that can certainly be a valuable tool for the appointment that you're seeking. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, do you know when the next meeting will take place?
I just looked it up, but I don't remember.
February 15th. So it sounds like we need to get this before the full body of the council under second reading suspension. So I will make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming out and sharing your breadth of knowledge. Council Clerk, will you please read the next item into the record?
Resolution number 2019-0012, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Corrections Planning Board for an unexpired term ending 1/1/2022.
Ms. Holly?
On behalf of the county executive, I'm here to recommend an appointment of Russell Brown, Arthur Hill, Dean Jenkins, and Chief Christopher Violin to the Corrections Planning Board. The Corrections Planning Board is comprised of 6 members appointed by the county executive, and per Chapter 5149 of the Ohio Revised Code, serve a 3-year term. The 3-year term will be ending on January 1st of 2022. Today we have here with us Mr. Russell Brown, Mr. Arthur Hill, and Mr. Dean Jenkins. On behalf of Chief Christopher Violin, we have Mr. Martin Murphy. Chief Violin just recently had surgery, so he wasn't able to join us today.
All right, thank you very much, and let the record reflect, and for my colleagues' knowledge, the chief also submitted a letter for his reappointment. So I see we have a number of gentlemen standing before us. If you will come, you don't have to come as a group. If that's how you prefer, you are corrections officers, and I don't want to upset you, but you can come one by one. Mr. Brown, if you would please step forward and give us a little bit of your experience and why you would like to continue to serve on this board.
Good morning. I'm Russell Brown. I'm court administrator at the Cleveland Municipal Court. I'm a member of the board simply as as the representative of Cleveland Municipal Court. Generally, it is an important board that we collaborate, partner with the Common Pleas Court and the other stakeholders in the county on corrections planning. And so I've been on this board for the last 12 years since I've been court administrator. 5 years prior to that, I was deputy court administrator, which also I participated with the board, and 3 years as a special projects officer with the municipal court, and a little bit less than a year of as a magistrate and mediation coordinator. So I'm very obviously familiar with the court function. I've been on a number of Supreme Court committees, sit on the board of the National Center for State Courts, and I think it's an important place on the board to continue to work with our partners and stakeholders in the county.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to my colleagues if you have any questions, comments, or concerns for Mr. Brown. Wow, okay. There being none, I'm going to move on to our next candidate. I would ask respectfully that you stick around in case something comes up. All right. Next, I think we have Mr. Arthur B. Hill III.
Madam Chair, Arthur B. Hill III, but affectionately known as Bo, because there have been 4 generations of my family involved in the Salvation Army, so they needed to come up with something other than Arthur Hill. So, been involved in the Salvation Army my entire life, 4 generations of my family have been involved in the Salvation Army, and I've been working for the Salvation Army for 22 years. My current job is I'm the executive director for the Salvation Army Harbor Light Complex, which means I oversee our homeless operations, our substance abuse operations, and also our community corrections operations. Professionally, I've been president of the Ohio Community Corrections Association, set on the OJAC, Ohio Justice Alliance for Community Corrections Board, and I currently also sit on the International Community Corrections Association Board. Been involved in a lot of community intervention and things like that in the community, as well as also a lot of things at the state level. And my position here is really as a halfway house provider. So we provide halfway house services to those involved in the criminal justice system, which are basically those in lieu of going to jail, returning from jail, in lieu of going to prison, returning from prison. And so I should have looked up how long I've been on the board, but I didn't. But it's been a while, and I also sit on the Lorraine Corrections Planning Board as well.
So are you at the facility across the street from CSU?
That's me.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right. What can you speak to maybe some of the recidivism, if any, that you might see
So as far as our program or statewide, which one would you prefer?
with your specific program?
So basically, when we look at our halfway house program in total, our successful completions rate over this last year was 72.9%. Today we have 96 people that we serve that are on electronic monitoring services, and then we have 179 people that are enrolled in our community corrections program as halfway house participants. Some from on transitional control, some on treatment transfer status, which are basically those coming from the prisons, and we also have some from Cuyahoga County and Lorain County predominantly that are sent to us either directly from the court or as a condition of their probation.
And another area of concern, I guess, with some of the community that you might service is mental health and drug addiction. Can you speak to that at all?
So we provide intensive outpatient treatment services at the facility. We also provide relapse prevention, recovery support, things of that nature. And those that come to us either prior to coming to halfway house or maybe need it while they're with us, we also provide a residential subacute detox level of care. And so last year we had about 700 people that came through our detox program. And so as far as mental health, one of the, we partner with a lot of agencies in the community as far as that, and we also bring on a psychiatrist. He used to come on 4 hours a week. We felt a need to up that, so he's now doing 8 hours a week. And so those that need meds or need their scripts, edited and changed, things like that, they can work with that in-house.
Thank you very much. I'll open it up to my colleagues if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. All right, there being none, thank you very much.
you.
I will ask if you will respectfully stick around as well in case we have any further questions. Next
bless you.
up, we have Mr. Dean Jenkins.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First off, I'm the Chief Probation Officer for Cleveland Muni Court, and I've been in that position since 2015. And I've had the honor of working for the court since 1993, I do believe, so I've been there for a little bit. And during that time, I've worked my way up from a probation officer to a supervisor, deputy chief, and until the chief. I think it is important, my presence on the committee, to continue the collaboration with the county in the community corrections arena. Just some things about me. I also adjunct at Baldwin Wallace University, so I think this position, allows me to use some of the education that I bring from academia back to this committee. And I've also had the honor of working for Dale Miller a lifetime ago, so so I owe him a debt of gratitude for leading me into public service.
And if you could you share maybe some of the initiatives, or at least at the very least some of the objectives that have come forward through this board?
I think the biggest one that affects the Cleveland Muni Court personally, if a court could be personal, is the DIET program, the Domestic Intervention Education and Training Program, which is our own Batters Intervention Program, which I think is the what brought us to this board specifically and me specifically. It is a funded program that at any one given time, we have at least 200 offenders that have been convicted of domestic violence running through a program. We have 12 different groups, some at our West Side Satellite, East Side Satellite, and some at the Justice Center. We do have 62% success rate coming out of that program, success being measured by just completing the program, which it's a 16-week program, meeting once a week for 2 hours at a time.
All right, thank you very much. I'll open it up to my colleagues if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Councilman Miller?
I just want to say congratulations. You've come a very long way since you worked as my assistant in the city council office years ago, and just very happy and appreciate all the good work you've done. And thank you for serving on the Corrections Planning Board.
Thank you.
If there are no further comments, questions, or concerns, I will ask if our final representative for Mr. Christopher Violin, which I think it speaks to his commitment to serve, that he would have someone come and speak on his behalf. So if you'll restate your name for the record, maybe your relation and whatever else it is that you would like to share.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Marty Murphy for the Corrections Planning Board. I am the board administrator. And a few words on Chief Island. Per Ohio Revised Code, the Corrections Planning Board is made up of a gamut of people that are involved in corrections in some way, shape, or form, ranging from the prosecutor to the defender, who are ex officio members, the county sheriff, the city of Cleveland, police chief, who are also ex officio members. The code does require us to have a representative of law enforcement from the community, and for that purpose, the executive went to the County Police Chiefs Association. In 2016, they first recommended Chief Island to the board, and we're pleased to have him being re-recommended this year for another 3-year term. He's got a very broad background in criminal justice. He's an attorney. He has one of the larger suburbs that he works through, a fully functioning jail that is certified, obviously a police department. So he knows the gamut of corrections.
All right, thank you very much. And I can't help but resist the question that stands before me. What are the number of individuals that serve on this committee, and how many women are represented on this committee? Do we know?
There is a minimum by code as to how many women. Actually, we will be coming before you again in the very near future. One of the recommended candidates who was unable to meet yet with Executive Budish was Mayor Judge KJ Montgomery
from
out of
Shaker.
Shaker. In addition to that, there is the Chief of Probation, who is also female. One of the deputies in charge of programming is a female as well. We're still awaiting the other vacant position besides the municipal judge is a victim of crime, and I believe that some of the names put forth were females for that as well.
Okay, just curious. So as a woman, I'm always looking for reflective representation and diversity and inclusion. So the other thing is, do you know the number of individuals that serve, the total number?
I can get that for you in the back of my mind. Between appointed and ex officio, I want to say 18.
Okay. All right. Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns? Well, Mr. Murphy, I thank you very much for coming forward, and all of you gentlemen actually for coming out today to share with us your experience and your desire to serve in this capacity. When will the next meeting take place?
The next meeting is at 9:30 on March 13th in the Justice Center in the sequestered dining room.
Okay, so this can actually go 3 readings, so I'll respectfully move this to the full body of the council so it can be heard for the full 3 readings. I'll make the motion. Is there a second? It's been moved in second. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, thank you, gentlemen, for coming out. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. And Council Clerk, will you read the last item into the record?
Resolution number 2019-0013, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Keith J. Lippman to serve on the Cuyahoga County Audit Committee for an unexpired term ending 12/31/2022.
And finally, Ms. Holly.
On behalf of the county executive, I'm here to recommend an reappointment of Keith Lippman to the audit committee. The audit committee has a 4-year term under Article 11, Section 11.01 of the Cuyahoga County Charter. And the appointment is for January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2022.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome back. If you'll
Thank you.
give us a little bit of your background and why you like to continue to serve in this capacity.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being back in front of you. I think we did this about 6 months ago, and I know a little bit more about the County Audit Committee now, having experienced a few meetings and interim activities. My career is as a CPA, public practice, concentrating primarily in the field of auditing and business advisory services. I always considered myself to have a second career, being community service, and have been very fortunate to have partners that have tolerated my spending time away from the office doing things in various aspects of the community. Not surprisingly, given my professional background, many of the boards and committees on which I have sat have appointed me as treasurer and audit committee chairs and finance committee chairs and so forth. So I came to the position on the county audit committee, I think, having a pretty significant amount of experience. The most relevant analogous experience that I've had and continue to have that relates to the county is as a member of the board and audit committee chair for an organization called Private Trust Company. Private Trust Company is a subsidiary of a publicly owned company in the investment management business, but it serves as a standalone trust company regulated by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which is a very detailed form of federal regulation. So my experience on that board for, I suppose it's been 6 or 7 years, particularly trained me, I think, well for what I've begun to experience at the County Audit Committee, where the focus is significantly on understanding the operations of various departments, what the areas of risk are, how to mitigate those risks, reporting when there are findings that suggest that risks are not being properly mitigated, and making recommendations for how to cure those issues. I could talk a lot about other nonprofit and civic experience that I've had. I think you've got my bio. I'm probably active on 7 or 8 boards currently. I'm one of those people that has trouble disengaging once engaged, but I'm also fortunate as my professional career is moving a little bit more to part-time as I work towards retirement. It gives me even more time to engage in the civic community that I treasure.
Excellent. And do you know, speaking of the meetings, do you know when the next meeting will take place?
I do not. I believe it's in March. I think Corey Swaysgood is in the room and may know the date.
Well, I think given the fact that you are already on the committee and you're a reappointment, that if it were outside, we could still give this the full 3 readings that
Well,
this committee.
if I may, I should point out that in between meetings, we are often called on as committee members to approve the release of reports. That comes up episodically. So to the extent that that makes a difference, whether or not there's a I'm a committee member at the time those requests are made. Just point that out to you.
I appreciate that. Would you like to step forward?
Yes, Corey Swayze, Director of Internal Audit. You need to know the date of the
Next
audit.
meeting.
It's March 8th of this year.
Okay, perfect. We can give this the full 3 readings. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from my colleagues? Well, I guess I just have the one question. It seems like, as a person that does the audit committee, do you have any involvement with our ERP and kind of capturing anything on the front end that we might need to address?
Well, when I came onto the committee, the ERP implementation process was well underway. I would pretty much say that there is hardly a report that comes before us that doesn't have some component of it that is discussion about this will change under the new ERP system.
Okay.
And but in terms of any personal, professional involvement in any aspect with it, no, just have the awareness of the expectation of improvement of the systems because of it.
Well, I think for me, that is comforting in a way that you are at least getting that so you know what changes to look for in the future. So are there any additional questions, comments, or concerns? All right, there being none, this can move to the full body of the council under 3 readings. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? It's been moved in second. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you
for your
so
time.
much. I appreciate you for coming out today. And that was our last item, miscellaneous business. Today is actually Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, so shout out to him, as this is the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee, so I think it's important that we acknowledge his great body of work. And Happy New Year to all of those. This is our first meeting this year. That is my miscellaneous business. Are there any other comments or anything else anyone else would like to share? That being said, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you everyone for your time and have a great day.